So it looks like finally a back and forth transfer negotiation has actually been won by Newcastle. Positive news on the transfer front. It looks like Joao Pedro's in. Welcome back to Black White Banter, Newcastle fans. If you are new to the channel and you've just literally stumbled across us on YouTube, make sure you drop us one of these. Them little thumbs up only takes you a second. That'll get us further up that search bar, so it always goes a long way. And if you do like my opinion by the end of the video, maybe even 30 seconds in, drop us a subscribe as well and you'll be notified every single time a video gets posted. So, there's big news just when we're all still feeling a little bit hungover from what was an absolutely incredible game of football at St James's Park yesterday against Manchester City. I'm still taking it all in, watching the highlights back. I think I've watched that Trippier free kick back 267 times, I think the last time I counted. Absolutely wonderful game. But there is some big breaking news today. Just as the week feels like it's getting started, it looks like we finally made some transfer progress on the attacking front after what has been a stale 2 or 3 weeks now. So Joao Pedro from Watford, who we've had bids turned down, back and forth, very similar to the James Maddison scenario. It's obviously a player Eddie Howe's really keen for. Fabrizio Romano is now reporting tonight, the in-the-know agent, that it is all go. And it looks like he is going to be signing for Newcastle for what looks like about £30 million in total. So, we're finally looking at getting an attacking player through the door. We've still had a good window on the defensive front with the likes of Botman, Matt Targett, Nick Pope coming in. But I think it's got to the point now, I think every Newcastle fan, if they're honest, and I've been very grounded in terms of what we've been used to in previous years, and it still would have been a good window if we didn't bring any attackers in. But with Callum Wilson, never know whether he's going to finish out a full season. My God, I hope he does. We do need attackers. And I think I said on the video yesterday, after watching that Man City game and the way we started the season, the difference between us having an amazing season, as some people are hoping, under this new project, and just a better season than last year, is whether we can add some attackers in the window. We've got the likes of Jacob Murphy, no disrespect to the kid, coming off the bench. We need better players in attacking areas. We need a better squad in the attacking front. So Joao Pedro, I don't know whether anyone watching this video was very similar to me. Don't know much about him. Didn't watch too much of Watford in the Premier League last year because they were pretty dire, let's face it. I think the only thing I knew about Joao Pedro was the fact he scored at St James's Park in that really disappointing 1-1 draw. He scored in the 88th minute. Championship this season, I haven't really followed much of Watford. I don't follow much of the Championship unless it's just on in the background. So again, it's a player that I don't know much about. So as I always like to do, I've gone away and I've read some scout reports on Joao Pedro to find out a little bit more about who he is, what his playing style's like, and what he can bring to us as a football club. So, he is a forward. He's not an out-and-out forward, so he's not going to be knocking on the door of Callum Wilson as a direct replacement for him. I think that's where Chris would be the backup as an out-and-out striker. Joao Pedro can play there, but he also drops into midfield, and he's been used on the left-hand side quite a lot for Watford. This season, he's played down the middle, so he has been used out-and-out as a striker for them at the start of the Championship season, with Sarr on one side of a 3. So he's been playing as part of a front 3. His goal record, I think that's what might throw a lot of Newcastle fans. Why are we spending £30 million on someone who hasn't bagged in 20, 30 since he's been at Watford? That only tells half the story. So Watford play quite a reserved style, quite a preservative style of football in the situation they've been in, particularly when they were in the Premier League fighting for their lives. And Joao Pedro is a very sought-after Brazilian youngster. He's only 20 years old, about to be 21 in September. He cost them £4 million from Fluminense. I'm not very good at pronouncing the foreign teams. Obviously, Brazilian side. They paid £4 million for him. He couldn't actually sign for them straight away. He needed to wait a year and a half for his work permit. And when they signed him, he hadn't even kicked the ball for the first team. So that came in the time after they'd signed him whilst he was getting his work permit. He's had interest from Liverpool. He's had interest from Manchester City over the last couple of years before Watford hit the red button and decided to go for him. He's definitely sought after by the Watford fans. I think they're going to be sad to see him go. Obviously, if Sarr leaves as well, I know the deal that Villa's gone through. He's Not that out-and-out striker that some might think. So, as I mentioned just there, I think Chris would be our replacement. And the reason I say that is because he's a player who likes to drop deep. He has a lot of touches. He averages, this season in the Championship, he's averaged 1.3 passes per game, 63 touches, which is high for someone who you would call an out-and-out striker. And that tells you that he's not, because he can be used in that midfield. He likes to drop deep. He likes to be involved, so he's not going to just sit up top and hug the centre-back and chat to the centre-back all afternoon waiting for balls to be played to him. He wants to get involved and drop a little bit deeper, which probably plays into why he can add something to our midfield if needs be. So if Callum Wilson is fit, Joao Pedro could play in that system to replace maybe the Maximans and the Almirons in different spells. He's dribbles. He's got a very, very successful dribble rate. Again, these all these stats of this season. So just bear with me because I've been doing a lot of reading on the kid. 52% dribble rate, and he averages 3.3 dribbles per game. So again, your out-and-out striker. All these numbers are a little bit off for an out-and-out striker. He is someone who's going to drop in. What really interested me though, because let's face it, Eddie Howe likes this guy. Same as he liked Botman. Same as he likes James Maddison, he's kept on going after him. We've kept making bids. And Eddie Howe has now wanted a young striker for a while. If you think back to Etatike, who decided to go to PSG, that was going on and on and on from January. You've got Sesko. We were obviously apparently interested in him from Salzburg, the very young forward who's doing really, really big things at the moment. I think Eddie Howe, not only does he want to bring the age of that squad down, he wants someone who's young, hungry, and one for the future. So he's looking at this project 2-3 years, and Joao Pedro fits into that perfectly. Brazilian talent, still lots to learn, still a lot we don't know about him as a player because he hasn't really developed just yet in that relegated Watford side. But bags and bags and bags of potential. He's skillful, he likes to dribble, he likes to drop deep. But again, this is what really interested me. This is a direct quote from a scouting website. His infectious energy and work rate off the ball will fill the hearts of Newcastle fans. That says it all for me. I mean, we all know how much we love a grafter from the stands. We absolutely love to see a player like Miguel Almiron yesterday against Manchester City running their bollocks off. But I think Eddie Howe wants that as well. No one is a passenger in the Eddie Howe side, and he is trying to build a certain type of team that suits where he wants us to be. The right characters, the right frame of mind when they're on the pitch, no prima donnas, work off the ball and work off on the ball to play good, expansive, attacking football. And we're seeing that. I mean, yesterday's game against Manchester City, we could have been the champions in that game if you'd never watched a football match before. And I think to read that Pedro is someone who likes to tackle, and I'm going to back this up with some stats on that. Like I say, he's only 20 years old. He averages 2 clearances per game, which again, for a forward and someone playing a lot further up the field, it can be a bit of an unheard of stat. He's got a 52% success rate and he's tackling. And yeah, to read that he's infectious, his infectious work rate off the ball will fill the hearts of Newcastle fans. It all kind of makes sense for me because not only is he exciting at one end of the pitch, he can also put the dirty stuff in when we're playing away from home, like at Brighton 2 weeks ago, and grafting his bollocks off when you know things are a little bit against us, the tide's up. So I'm going to be happy with this bit of business, and I've been on lots and lots and lots of fan websites from Watford, from scout reports, all that say £30 million for this guy in the current market, where Gibbs White is going to Nottingham Forest for £45 million, despite being a Wolves reserve, is an absolute wonderful bit of business, even been described as a snip. So hey, I'm not going to claim that I've watched a lot of him. I've just done a lot of reading on him. And I'm excited. We've got an attacking player coming in before the Wolves game next weekend. Obviously, I think it would be too soon for the Tranmere game on Wednesday. And it's another body in that position. Yes, we still probably need to get rid of a few. And I'm sure Eddie Howe's not done with getting players out to bring players in. We still need a midfielder, in my opinion. I don't think our business is going to be done there. But this is a breakthrough, Newcastle fans. We are spending some serious cash. And I think we've all been desperate to see some attackers coming in. And it looks like one's in the door. So, young, exciting Brazilian talent, can play in midfield, can play up front. Still not the finished article. An absolute workhorse when he's on the field and a menace for defenders and midfielders. Wow, I'm happy. So if you found this video insightful at all, maybe you didn't know much about Pedro the same as I maybe didn't until I've done a bit more digging, make sure you give us one of these, Newcastle fans. Just a little thumbs up, it'll get us up that search bar. And make sure you give us a subscribe as well. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see a little bit more, drop me a subscribe and get me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter under Black and White Banter. So, I've got no doubt I'll be touching down for another video, maybe another transfer video this week. This week could be the week where we make more progress. But it's Tranmere in the Cup on Wednesday, so I've got no doubt I'll be doing another video for that and maybe even another transfer one. But it looks like Joao Pedro's in. I'll see you on the next video, Newcastle fans. However, lads.